This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN Live. We're at the Sprott, Stansberry, Vancouver Natural Resource Symposium 2015. I have with me a familiar man named John Kaiser from the Kaiser Research Online. He's an editor, publisher, speaker, and we're going to talk about the state of the market. John, welcome back to SNN Live.
Shelley, it's great to be here with you.
It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
So let's ask a question. What did you speak about today?
Well, we are in the worst bear market for the resource sector ever.
Ever?
Yes.
Ever?
Yes.
Historically?
Yes. And in fact, so dangerous that it's in danger of possibly dissolving, ending an ecosystem called the Canadian Junior. Now, the question that I'm asking is, after we've lost so much money in the last 4 years by having exposure to the resource sector, when, where, how, and why will we make money again in the resource juniors?
Well, what did the pundits say when they hear you say the market's coming to an end for the juniors? I've been interviewing juniors, and I won't call them bullish. I'll say that they're probably bearish, but they're still out there trying to do their best. Some of them need to raise money. Some of them are loving their deposits. We're at a conference here that has pretty much what I term are the last standing survivors. So I know the bearishness of the market. So give me some of your reasons why you feel this way.
Well, what attracts investors into a market is some sort of trend. And the four narratives that typify the juniors are discovery exploration, which doesn't require any trend other than, producing good results for that particular company. There's the gold bug narrative, and that is now in a downtrend with no obvious reason for a turnaround in the wings. Then there's the commodity cycle, and we had the super cycle as part of the commodity cycle story in the last decade. We are now going through the supply glut as demand sags. After major mobilization, the mining companies did what they are supposed to do. So there's no upwards copper trend, no upwards nickel trend. There could be one for zinc, but it's not happening yet. And then the final one that I've been talking a lot more about is security of supply type stories, because in a trendless situation where big macroeconomic drivers for higher metal prices are not going to be operational for quite a few years, you need to look for companies that have a special story. And one kind is where they have a metal of some sort in a jurisdiction where, given the current metal price, it's not viable. But if, say, most of this metal comes from China, and for whatever reason China gets into a pushing match with the United States over the South Sea and the Spratly Islands and all of a sudden we do not have these metals flowing out of China, then we have perhaps something like tungsten or antimony going up in a big way. But there's also interesting stuff like China's environmental awakening that is happening now, and that is geopolitically neutral. China has a serious problem on its hands in the way it has produced metals and made it one of the biggest producers in a lot of metal categories. And as they start cleaning that up, because their people are angry at the pollution, that will result in supply disruptions also. And then you have climate change coming back into the equation, and energy efficiency, making more efficient use of energy is a big part of that. That's apolitical. You don't have to be a greenie or a leftist or whatever talking about alternative energy and demand for wind turbines and electric cars and stuff like that. You have suddenly talking about, can we make cars out of aluminum? Can we make trains out of aluminum? What alloys are needed to make these metals more efficient in terms of weight savings?
Let me ask you a question. You are on the research side. Your opinion's valued. If you had to speak to investors to give them guidance as what they should do investing in the market, what do you suggest?
Well, right now, you have to look at each company's fundamentals and place your bet on the success of those fundamentals. I like exploration discovery stories, and the reason I'm sort of pessimistic about the sector overall, it has nothing to do with the companies or the quality of the projects. It has to do with structural changes in the industry, whereby we have proprietary trading, algo trading in the market. We have no way to really value these junior companies and their exploration prospects. But we also have a regulatory environment that's trying to push investors into literally a rocking chair, strap them into it, and forbid them from making unsuitable investments that could cause them to lose money. And of course, anything that has high reward potential is also high risk. And so we are now seeing brokers refusing unsolicited orders from somebody who's over 55 years old because of this client relationship model that has been invented and the suitability requirement where if the stock goes down, the client can conceivably accuse the broker of letting him or her do an unsuitable trade. And this is choking the flow of capital into treasuries. And there's also the sophisticated accredited investor restriction that says you need to be worth $1 million, not including your home, or have made $200,000 in the last 2 years to be allowed to do a private placement. So the brokers are no longer serving as a gateway for capital. The large retail audience out there is prohibited from giving money directly to a company. The institutional audience is vacating the space because there are no trends through which they can justify their investments. And the sophisticated investors, the accredited ones, are realizing we are buying lottery tickets, and sophisticated people do not buy lottery tickets. The aftermarket has been destroyed by the algo traders, so this is why I am so gloomy. If gold rocketed to $1,500, $1,800, yes, we might be saved, but I don't see those things happening, and there need to be structural reforms like letting ordinary investors give their money directly to a company as long as there's no intermediary being compensated. 100% responsibility. You take responsibility for the decisions you make. Don't blame anybody else. Do your homework, and for now, bet on the fundamentals of the company.
For more information, and I'm sure there's a lot of it, on this young man's website. So, John, give out your website.
KaiserResearch.com, no hyphen.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Kaiser, Kaiser Research Online, editor, publisher, writer, speaker, the whole gamut. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live. We're at the Sprott, Stansberry, Vancouver Natural Resource Symposium 2015. John, I want you to smile.
Shelley, it's been a pleasure.
Good to have you.